Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you all for showing up to today's show. I am Seamus Coughlin of Freedom Tunes and Twisted Plots. I'm filling in for Tim right now, who happens to be away. We've got a really awesome show for you tonight. Letitia James was indicted. That's going to be a very fun story. Katie Porter also melted down because someone was in her shot. And she was very upset about that. She wanted the whole world to know, or at least one of her staffers wanted the world to know when they leaked that footage to the press. RFK said that circumcision is linked to autism through Tylenol use, I believe. That was his quote. We're also going to talk about some more serious topics, such as the genocide in Nigeria. But first, before we get into all that, we have a word from our sponsor.
Yo, it's Perplexity AI's Comet browser. This is really interesting. Check this out. Let me ask you guys something. How much time do you spend every day on a web browser? How much time do you spend clicking around online, searching, scrolling, typing, endless tabs? It's a lot, right? Well, there's a new AI web browser from Perplexity called Comet that is completely changing the way you're able to interact with your browser. Comet feels like having a personal assistant living in your web browser that can actually do things for you across the internet, literally do things, not just give answers. You can ask Comet to handle tasks for you, and it literally clicks, types, searches, and scrolls just like you would to get things done for you. That's crazy. In the background while you go about your day. Go to perplexity.ai/Comet. Comet can navigate around the web like a human would, clicking, typing, searching, scrolling, getting what you need done so you can do more. Some of the things it can do, it can order food from like DoorDash or Domino's. It can book personalized restaurant reservations. It can buy stuff on Amazon. Wow, movie tickets, book flights, prep you for your day, send messages and emails, schedule things, search, respond, and analyze. It can pull up videos, tabs, or other searches you're looking for. That's crazy. Download Perplexity's new AI web browser Comet by heading to pplx.ai/Timcast and let your browser do the work for you. Plus, right now, when you download Comet, you get a month of Rumble Premium for free. Yo, check this out. We got Beam Dream, my friends. Head over to shopbeam.com/Timpool and pick up your Beam Dream. It helps you sleep. They got this delicious hot cocoa, 15 calories, no added sugar. Mix it with some hot water, drink it right before bed. You will sleep better. It's got melatonin, magnesium, L-theanine. I did not even know that my sleep could have improved. So my sleep score with my mattress, it tracks with 85 to 90 every day. And I started drinking this every night. Starts hitting 95 to 100. No joke. I am a huge fan of this. I drink it every night before bed. So go to shopbeam.com/Timpool. Check it out.
All right, and as you know, over here at Timcast, we like to build culture. One of the ways we are doing that is with Cast Brew Coffee. So if you want to go over to castbrew.com, pick up any of these blends. We've got Mary's Ghost Blend. If you guys want to grab some of that, help support the show and help us build culture. This coffee's delicious. We've got a couple other blends. If you prefer Luck of the Seamus, I don't know, that one sounds a little bit interesting. I think that sounds pretty cool. Focus with Mr. Bocus. A lot of really great stuff here. Again, building culture. If you guys want to check that out, please go over to castbrew.com. And then I want to mention, this is going to be my last show until I believe next week. I'm going to be gone for a little bit. And so before I go, I just want to mention to you guys, for those who don't know, after 11 years of making short cartoons, myself and my team are launching a full-length animated show. We started the crowdfunding campaign a couple of days ago. We've seen massive success within the first couple of days. And so we're offering a promotion before I'm done with Timcast for the week. Anyone who donates tonight at the $10 level will get access to the full pilot episode, the full 25-minute long pilot episode. So please go over to Twisted Plots, help us build culture, help us be the media and make entertaining content. You can donate at any level. You'll get access to the pilot. And one really big ask, if you are Elon Musk, we do have an Elon Musk tier. And Elon, if you give $500,000, the Elon tier is we'll do a whole episode where white South Africans colonize Mars and make the land farmable. So guys, go over to twistedplots.com. Please help us fund the show. And let's introduce everybody. We have Libby. How are you doing?
I'm good, Seamus. Glad to be here. I'm excited to watch your show. It looks really cool.
Thank you so much.
I'm Libby Emmons. I'm with the Post Millennial.
Hey there, Riley Moore, Congressman in the 2nd Congressional District, which we're sitting in right now. You can follow me, Riley Moore WV. Good to be back with you all. Haven't been on in a little while, so it's always fun being on this show.
My name is Nick Sortor. I am Portland Police's most wanted criminal right now. recently charged with disorderly conduct for filming in the street, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you guys for inviting me.
Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and a counter-revolutionary. Let's get into it.
But hold on, before we dive into the story, what did you get in trouble for filming?
The Antifa protest that's happening out there in front of the, and when I say protest, I mean protest.
You mean mostly peaceful.
Oh, yeah, mostly peaceful, a little bit fiery most of the time.
You were like, I was mostly filming.
Yeah, right.
It should have been your defense. I was mostly not filming, actually.
Yeah. Well, so that's kind of the problem out there, because the actual the legacy media out there doesn't bother covering the situation. As you know, as Libby knows, I'm sure, because your reporter Katie Daviscourt is like one of the best in the business.
She's terrific,
freaking love Katie. And she was out there, and I saw her get hit with that flagpole, and I watched the video of this assailant just walk away and say, I believe the police started walking with the assailant, and the cop said, "You're detained. You're not free to leave." And that assailant said, "F you, no, I'm not," and then walked away.
Right, and
I've
started
never seen that happen.
saying, "I'm underage," and it's like, okay, so you should go to juvie.
Yeah.
Right.
Juvie's
We
a
used to
place.
have that. Yeah.
So I decided I was going to go out there, and within like 24 hours of being there, Portland police arrested me, not her assailant, but me, for filming in the street. So
And can I ask you, like, what charges did they try to bring you up on here?
disorderly conduct,
For
because
filming.
because the rest of it is
was ordered.
apparently orderly.
It was
yeah.
very well ordered. And then you showed up with your camera.
Yep.
It was all fine before you came here and filmed it. Wow. Okay. Well, listen, it's all backwards. We know it's all backwards. We know they're all about political prosecutions. And while they're out here arresting journalists for filming things they don't want the public to see, they're whining and complaining that Letitia James was indicted and charged in a fraud case after pressure by the Trump campaign. So as you all remember, Letitia James actually ran on prosecuting Trump. Highly unusual to run for office on prosecuting an individual person, but she did that, and now she's going to sit there and talk about how the system is weaponized, of course. So New York Attorney General Letitia James was charged Thursday as part of a mortgage fraud investigation aggressively pushed by the Trump administration, becoming the latest foe of the president to be prosecuted by his Justice Department. You gotta love the framing there. Political prosecutions just fell from the sky once Trump got elected. Who's Letitia James? What was she known for from before this happened? And secondly, of course, the article starts with, she has been indicted. There is pressure that the Trump administration has put on the Justice Department. Now, remember, when the Justice Department was charging people under Biden, we were told, well, that's separate from the Oval Office, and Joe Biden doesn't determine who the Justice Department goes after. But of course, we're told that President Trump put pressure. Interesting how now that's possible.
There is
Well,
a
you did-
fantastic post from Letitia James that resurfaced here. There's always a tweet for everything, man. I'm telling you. When powerful people cheat to get better loans, it comes at the expense of hardworking people.
Did you really say that?
Yes, it's real. Everyday Americans cannot lie to a bank to get a mortgage, and if they did, our government would throw the book at them. There simply cannot be different rules for different people.
So is
And
she
this is,
saying
of
she's
course-
not a regular American?
Well, no,
Is
no,
that the charges that have been
don't
brought up,
forget
allegedly?
that this all goes back to the Trump supposedly overvaluing Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, exactly.
And she now is in trouble for mortgage fraud for some property that she has in Virginia, which is, I think the shocking thing for them is that they're actually being prosecuted for committing crimes, which are used to just being able to do whatever the hell they want whenever they want to do it.
Why else get into politics?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
These are also not things that they think are crimes when they do them.
Yes.
They just think it's crimes when these are crimes when Trump does it. And if you remember, during the Biden administration, you actually had Joe Biden saying to Merrick Garland to make sure to go ahead and prosecute Trump. That happened. And he would say repeatedly, oh, the DOJ is separate and that's independent. But that was on the record. The New York Times reported that out, that Biden went to Merrick Garland and said that he wanted Trump prosecuted.
Look, this is something that we talked about that I talked about not last night, the night before. The left doesn't actually have any principles. They're not going to go ahead and say, well, we believe this is something that is we have to worry about when both sides do it or whatever. They believe that words are just used to have access to power. Yep. They don't believe anyone comes from a honest argument. They don't believe there is honest arguments. They believe that It's all about exercising power. So you can't call them hypocrites because they're not being hypocritical. They just don't have they don't believe that you can make an honest argument.
Right.
Their point is we will make whatever argument we have to make to win. And this goes back, this is because most of them believe in a postmodern philosophy, or at least a fundamental basic understanding of postmodernism as reality, and they say that it doesn't really matter what I'm saying. I just want to win the argument. It doesn't matter. I forget. I think it might have been Sortor that said this, but I forget who it was. But he said it doesn't matter if I'm making an honest argument. All I have to be is interesting.
Mm-hmm. Right, and the thing too
and
about
these people are interesting. I'll tell you that.
the thing too is they believe, the left believes that they have a moral authority, and they believe that moral authority gives them the right to seek power at any cost. And we need to remind them all the time that they actually have no moral authority, and part of that is that they have no morals. So there's nothing for them to actually
no
stand
real
on.
authority.
There's no without look. I'm not particularly religious, but if you don't believe in a God, which most of them don't, there is no actual morality. Right.
Yep.
And this is the point that Nietzsche made.
That's 100% true. And that's for real. And that's, you mentioned Sartre. And if you go back to, Sartre said that existentialism was the scariest thing because it put all of the responsibility on mankind. And these leftists not only believe that there's no God, but that they have no responsibility. So it's even worse.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, they're able to manifest their own desires through their own power, right? It's like the might makes right. I mean, that's kind of the end of it. It's
Yes.
Yeah.
Might makes right. I have the power, therefore I'm infallible. Anything that I'm able to do is therefore correct. I'm doing this for the greater good to defeat this evil that's out here, Donald Trump and the rest of the crew. So it's Phil rightly put it. There are no morals. There's no lines in the sand that they're not willing to cross. It's might makes right, and they're going to do what it takes to defeat their enemies.
That's right. And I appreciate what you guys are touching on, this idea of moral licensing. I'm the good guy, so I can do whatever I want. You hear them say this all the time. Well, we're Antifa. That just means anti-fascist, so we can do whatever we want. That is such a facile argument. That's like saying, well, like fascism just comes from the word bundle. So the Antifa is against bundles? Well, it doesn't make any sense. Like, how deep are we going to go in the deconstruction of words? Obviously, they're okay with all of the emotional baggage that's side up with fascism, and of course for good reason, because fascism is a terrible ideology. But that doesn't mean anyone who says I'm part of the anti-bad ideology club, I'm part of the Antifa club, is a good person.
After spending a week out there with all these Antifa people, like they say they're anti-fascists, but these are some of the biggest fascists that I've ever dealt with in my life. Try walking on their sidewalk, and they're gonna beat you with a pole, right?
Yeah.
And then they'll call the cops on you. They hate the cops.
And you film them, and you shouldn't have done that.
Right.
Yeah, assault with a deadly camera.
Right.
Right. In the end of the day, for these folks, words are violence, right? Anything that is the opposite of their worldview is violence.
Yep.
And
Except violence.
Everything
is violence except violence.
Except when they perpetrate violence, then it's justified.
Mm-hmm. Or it's like socioeconomic factors or something like that. But they are literally never responsible for violence. I appreciate what you guys were mentioning too about authority and how these people don't believe in God. The word authority actually comes from the word author. It's the creator who has the ultimate authority, and then we're able to participate in his authority, and that's what legitimate authority is. And through God's permissive will, obviously there are people in positions of authority who aren't great people, who we don't want to have be there, but that's the ultimate source of authority. And so, of course, people who don't believe in him, and especially these leftists who just openly hate him, they're not going to respect rules and norms of morality when they come into power. They're not even running their own lives well. Like, have you ever seen... Listen, I have known a number of left-wing people in my life. I've had a number of friends who are left-wing. Some of them were decently cool people. But for the most part, and I say this like even sympathetically about the ones I'm really cool with, like their lives are often just not in a place that you want to emulate. On rare occasions they are, but for the vast majority of circumstances, it's like you're someone who isn't even in control of your own life, and that's why you want to control everyone else, right? I think it might have been Augustine who said this, that it's like it's harder to conquer yourself than to conquer the world. They can't conquer themselves, and they're not even trying, so they just have to go try to control everything else.
Well, part of that is that they worship themselves.
Yes.
Yes.
And they think that the self is a god, and so that's what they worship.
To that point, like there's a lot of people that would call themselves Satanists, but really what it is worship of the self.
That is Satanism,
That
actually.
is-
That's what I'm saying.
Back around to.
Yeah, that's
I
what
mean,
I'm saying.
if you look at the
you look at
abortion ritual that the Satanic Temple put out, it's all about like, oh, I'm more important than the baby.
Yeah, like the Satanists have a saying like do what thou will but harm none or whatever, but they believe that revenge is okay and et cetera. And that's something that you see a lot in Antifa. A lot of them wear, pentagrams or the goat and stuff like that. And look, I mean, I've been in a metal band for 20. I've been in a metal band for 25 years. So that imagery doesn't faze me. But when you see these people doing it, like, you really do understand that this is not about just imagery. It's about them actually worshiping themselves, believing that the way to fulfillment is giving into every whim you have. And that is completely antithetical to what reality tells us. Like, freedom comes with discipline, because if you're not disciplined, then every whim you have, you're a slave to. Whether it be I'm hungry and I want to eat something that's bad for me, or I don't feel like going to the gym, so that way I gain weight and I get out of shape and I feel terrible all the time. Like, actual freedom comes with the discipline to say, I want this, and I'm going to do the things that I need to do to achieve this.
Exactly. The freedom to do as you ought. You asked the question, we as modern people tend to think of freedom as a political concept, as a choice between two different options. What freedom actually means is the true ability to choose the good. So if I'm someone who's always eating Twinkies and I never work out, and Phil is somebody who's always working out and he's getting shredded, if Phil wants to do my thing for a day, if he wants to just chill out and eat Twinkies, he's he can make that decision because he's disciplined enough to do other things. It is way harder for me to get up and go to a gym. So the more in vice you are, the less free you actually are, because that momentum stops you from being able to make other choices.
Of course, vice enslaves you.
It's exactly. A man has as many masters as he does vices. But specifically on this topic with Letitia James, my question to you guys is, as we see this ramping up, do you think the Trump administration actually has what it takes to go all the way on these things? Because, as you know, he who digs half a grave, or I'm sorry, he who fights half a revolution digs his own grave. If you only take it halfway there, then they come to power, and then you're in jail, and your constituents get locked up. Do you think the Trump administration is going to go all the way with this?
I think President Trump's acutely aware of the consequences of losing in any of this. I think he's acutely aware of that. I
want to hear everyone, because I think I have a different take.
Yeah, I think he's acutely aware of that. Look, the Department of Justice is going to go through this process. I think all of the Trump supporters, including myself, they want to see it go all the way. Folks in Congress want to see it go all the way. We're going to see, I guess, but I got a lot of confidence in it. I do. I got a lot of confidence. Phil, you got another take, though, man.
No, I find it very unlikely that the Trump administration they're not going to bring charges that they don't think will stick.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the biggest parts about this, because if you get Comey or Letitia James, or, God forbid, both are acquitted, it just makes your entire Department of Justice look like a total joke. And then it's going to be,
it was just theater.
So that's so we can't have that, and I think that's why it's moving a lot slower than people want it to. But I have it on very good authority that this is the first two of many, and there's some bigger names in that pot.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Libby, you had something to say about it?
Yeah, I do think the Department of Justice is actually moving relatively quickly with all of this, and they have so many cases.
Because they actually have to put it to a grand jury first as well.
They have to put it to a grand jury, but also they've been dealing with so many of these ludicrous judges coming back and saying that the federal government doesn't have the authority to deport criminal illegal immigrants or to bring in the National Guard to protect ICE agents doing their job. So the DOJ really has their hands full, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of these fall through the cracks, but I think that they're moving as quickly as they can, and I think they have good people on it.
All right, so I don't think that Trump has the stomach to do what's necessary, and the reason I say that is because if there is one thing that Trump wants, it's people to like him. And when people say they're upset, they're angry, when his poll numbers start tanking for whatever reason, he will change course. He always does this, and I was saying this on Tuesday. He is the president that is very pragmatic. When he sees that his policies are not popular or not working, he will change them. And I think that what Trump will do, now I'm not talking about just specifically with Letitia James or what have you. I'm talking about the real gutting of these NGOs and the international stuff when it comes to Antifa and stuff like that. That's where the real issue lies. Not just, sure, there are people in the bureaucracy that are bad and that should be tried. We should, if they've got they've broken the law, or if a grand jury thinks that they can have enough evidence to try them, I want that. But I don't know that Trump has the stomach to really push it as far as he has to. I would like to, especially because as soon as I think in 2008, if he doesn't hold the Congress, if the Republicans don't hold the Congress, there will, or I mean, sorry, 2028 when the House is up for election again. Yeah, or 26. I'm sorry. I don't think that if the Republicans don't hold the Congress, I think they're going to be impeachments, and they're going to do everything they can.
There definitely will be.
That's without a question.
They've said it outright. I don't think
that he has the time. Hold on, let me finish. He doesn't have the time, and I think that the only chance that we have of actually fixing things long term is someone that's more aggressive than Trump coming after him. And I don't know that that's going to happen, but if J.D. Vance is the guy, and I'm not saying that he is, but we need someone that is literally twice as aggressive as Trump.
Yes,
someone that will actually make the left say, will actually frighten the left. Because right now they talk like they're frightened.
Exactly. Someone who will actually make the left afraid instead of pretend afraid.
All the stuff they say, all the stuff that they call Trump, that's what we actually need. Someone that will really push the boundaries of the law.
Yeah, look, God willing, I want JD. I think JD is going to be the guy. I think JD stands a very good chance to win vice president, hopefully be the next president. I want to see people locked up. I want folks locked up. I'm tired of just our side getting locked up.
That's right.
For just made up stuff. When you have real things here, like this Russia collusion hoax, that's why they got Comey indicted over here. Someone's got to go to jail over this. And I think the voters, the base, we all want it. Members of Congress like myself, someone's got to pay because this is not right.
And you know what, guys? Anyone who thinks this is too far, how could we be indicting a politician in the United States? Let me tell you a story. For those who haven't heard me talk about this before, there was a gentleman by the name of Mark Houck. He's a family man, pro-life activist. He was protesting outside of an abortion clinic, and this vulgar, obscene older man started making sexually charged comments at his 12-year-old boy. So he pushed this man away. The Soros-funded prosecutor in that area said it was a nothing burger, said that they weren't going to go after him, said that there was nothing there. The juice wasn't worth the squeeze. It wouldn't be worth the car ride to his house. Okay, then after Roe is overturned, what does the Biden administration do? A year after this happened, they charged this man with a violation of the FACE Act. They sent a SWAT team to his house in the middle of the night to arrest him and drag him out of his home. And this woman thinks she's above the law when this has been happening in her country under her nose. Like, granted, this wasn't her jurisdiction, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. These people are all part of the same system, and they're punishing regular Americans for completely political reasons. She ran on charging Trump for political reasons, and now she's being charged for something that, I'm sorry, does not look political to me based on what I'm reading.
It's not. She committed a crime. She committed a crime.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just in my opinion, innocent until proven guilty
exactly.
here. Exactly.
That's why I'm being careful and saying based on the evidence. But my understanding of the case is they're saying that she purchased a house. Again, this is allegedly. This is what they're saying in the indictment. They're saying she purchased a 3-bedroom home. She said that it was a second residence so that she could get a lower interest rate on it. But according to the indictment, they're saying that she was renting it out. Something like that. She wasn't actually using it as a residency is the point. And so they're alleging that there was fraud.
Well,
that's not a political thing, dude. That's like fraud's not legal.
Right.
Didn't Adam Schiff do something like that? Didn't he say two places where his primary residence?
Yeah, in
Maryland. You're at the time you're a representative from California, and you're calling a Maryland resident your primary. I mean, it seems like that's a pretty open and shut
either
case.
He shouldn't have his seat,
right,
or he's committed fraud.
He was ineligible to. If that was actually his primary residence, he was ineligible to run for Congress to begin with.
And
They're brazen.
They're so brazen. Like Wyden from Washington. Is Wyden's Washington or is he Oregon?
Wyden.
But doesn't he live basically in a penthouse in New York? I mean, like a townhouse in New York City?
Yeah.
Wyden. And doesn't he have like 2 other addresses as well? He has a place in Oregon and he has a place in
D.C.
In D.C.
Yeah.
But like, where does he actually live? Because I posted something about Wyden being a doofus on Twitter. And
did you read that article about his family?
You
were right, though.
Yeah. And then I went and read an article because somebody commented and they were like, he doesn't even live here. He lives in New York.
Yeah.
And I started looking it up and I was like, damn, he doesn't live in Oregon.
Yeah,
he lives
I
in
know,
New York.
right?
That's nuts. That's actually insane.
His wife is the heiress to the Strand bookstore fortune.
Wow. I want to draw your guys' attention to this. She did post a video on Twitter. I was watching it a little bit earlier. There's something, I'll just be honest, there's something unsettling about it. There's something unsettling about it. Like if she didn't share it, I would think it was AI or something. It's really weird.
This is nothing more than a continuation of the president's desperate weaponization of our justice system. He is forcing federal law enforcement agencies to do his bidding, all because I did my job as the New York State Attorney General. These charges are baseless, and the president's own public statements make clear that his only goal is political retribution at any cost. The president's actions are a grave violation of our constitutional order and have drawn sharp criticism from members of both parties.
Yeah.
His decision to fire a United States attorney who refused to bring charges against me and replace them with someone who is blindly loyal not to the law, but to the president, is antithetical to the bedrock principles of our country.
She thinks she's above the law. It sounds
This is
like.
the time for leaders
You mean
on
the
both
Biden U.S.
sides of the
attorney
aisle
didn't want to charge you, and he
to
appointed
speak out
his...
against this blatant
Yeah, that's what it
perversion
means.
of our system of justice.
This
Justice.
I stand strongly behind my office's litigation against the Trump Organization. We conducted a 2-year investigation based on the facts and evidence, not politics. Judges have upheld the trial court's finding that Donald Trump, his company, and his 2 sons.
Hold on, I got it. She talks like William Shatner in Star Trek. She sounds like she talks like Captain Kirk. She's like, justice in this country must
Are liable for
be
fraud.
protected.
I'm a proud woman of faith. And I know that faith and fear cannot share the same space. And so today,
Final
I'm
frontier.
not fearful. I'm fearless. And as my faith teaches me, no weapon formed against me shall prosper.
she
We will
ran-
fight
Version
these
of
baseless charges
ChatGPT did she
aggressively.
use to write this?
And my office will continue to fiercely protect New Yorkers and their rights.
That's insane.
And I will continue to do my job.
What,
She
this
literally
is such
ran-
a
she
weird like
ran on
CW
getting
drama
on Trump.
monologue. I don't know why
Yeah.
she's talking that way, dude. It's bizarre. It was
She
bizarre.
ran on finding some way to prosecute.
She
Donald
literally
Trump.
ran on that.
literally, like not like openly. There was
no
nothing
secret.
subtle.
Yeah.
There was nothing subtle. It was like we're gonna get Trump.
Yeah.
And now to say stuff like this, it's insane.
Dude, that lazy eye was getting to me that entire time too. I didn't even know she had that thing, but
I don't want to make fun of her for that, but her
I'm gonna make fun of her for everything. I hope that they've got a 4XL jumpsuit waiting for her. Set one aside.
It's
Big Tish.
it just it bothers me so much knowing that you can just go look at her campaign.
Well,
She was openly saying, I will use the Justice Department to get Donald Trump. And then when you get into the details of the case that she had against him, this is because this was the Florida one about the value of the
Yep.
yeah, like the bank went on record saying, no, we would do business with the Trump Organization. Again, we made money. We went into this knowing full well what the situation was. The Trump Organization, these are all sophisticated actors. They all have agency. They all know the business very well. Everybody involved was completely happy with the transaction. And then Letitia James came in and said, we're going to basically erroneously or illegally value the house, the property, like $100 million less than the surrounding properties. And we're going to prosecute on those. It was insane.
So right after the election, I was in Mar-a-Lago with Trump, and he was talking about this. He's like, you see the chandelier here? It's worth more than the valuation that they're talking about. This chandelier alone is worth more than what they're talking about here.
Yeah, I mean, this is all insane. Listen, it makes our blood boil. It makes us angry. One of my specific pet peeves is when someone dumps boiling potatoes on my head.
I hate when that happens.
I hate when that happens. And
I thought you liked potatoes, Seamus.
I do, but not like that. That's
Not like
not
that.
my preferred way of consuming them. Well, there were some allegations.
No way a
about,
Seamus doesn't like potatoes.
Of course, dude. Of course. Listen, I love potatoes. I don't like them being abused in that way. And that's why I want to talk about our next story. It's very important to me. Katie Porter, she had the CBS meltdown. You guys probably saw it. And now these abuse allegations have resurfaced that she once dumped boiling potatoes on her ex-husband's head. So people who are upset about that kind of thing, which is most normal people, probably aren't going to want to vote for her. But I just got to say, listen, This is all allegedly what happened. These are allegations. It's really specific. It's a really specific accusation in my mind. So let's read about this. Abuse allegations against Katie Porter have resurfaced after she threatened to walk out of a CBS interview on being asked a simple question. Her former husband, Matthew Hoffman, previously claimed the ex-congresswoman often abused him verbally and even threw toys, books, and other objects at him during their marriage. Hoffman also accused Porter of pouring scalding hot mashed potatoes on his head during a fight, divorce records show, according to the 2023.
Mashed potatoes?
Yes, mashed potatoes.
Well, and this is the thing. I know it's easy to like see it and listen.
That would
This
be
is
really
ridiculous.
hard to get off.
Well, and this is ridiculous. And I was kind of like, listen, I was joking a little bit, especially because how specific it is. But like genuinely, this is a horrible thing to do to somebody. What she,
It's like
I mean,
pouring
it's
burning
literally-
cement on your
Yeah,
face.
that's like you could really burn somebody. That's abuse. If this is true, this is a woman who is abusing her ex-husband. Total not. Listen, I'm not. Again, it's alleged, but none of this seems inconsistent with the clips we've seen.
No, she
leaked from
seems
her.
like
She's-
absolutely a horrible
I think
person.
there
She
was
seems very
another
angry.
thing in those records where she like smashed a coffee pot and then threw it at her husband too. I think I remember reading that.
And somehow she's got her 12-year-old daughter, or she did at a certain point. Her 12-year-old daughter was terrified she was going to get raped and not be able to have an abortion.
What?
because Trump won.
Yeah, because Trump won, and her daughter was crying, and her daughter was 12 at the time, and was scared that she was going to get raped and not be able to have an abortion.
The most surprising part of all of this is the fact that somebody slept with her at some point and created a daughter. That's first off. Secondly, like she went to CBS, right? Well, CBS is like running cover for Democrats all the time.
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what she was expecting. And she's like, "What? You're asking me questions? What is this?"
It wasn't even like that hard of a question.
No.
The best part about it is it was a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Like they never get follow-up questions. They're like, "Excuse me?
Like, what?
There's a follow-up here?"
Who do you think you
yeah,
are?
and she said she's never had that experience before.
That says a lot. That tells me everything.
Follow-up question.
Before.
People just take what I say as truth. To contextualize a little bit, though, what Libby said, that statement about her daughter and Trump won, and what if she gets raped and now she can't have an abortion? She said she was crying about that after she picked her up from water polo practice.
Right, water polo practice. Yeah, that was the other part of it.
It was just perfect.
What a sick
This is
lady.
what she said. I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation in which you ask me about every issue on this list. And if every question you're going to make a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there, and we're just going to circle around. I have never had to do this before. And the reporter says, every other candidate has done this. And Porter says, what part of I'm me? I'm running for governor because I'm a leader, so I'm going to. And then she just kept going.
What do you guys think?
And she
What
says,
do you
I
guys-
don't want to have an unhappy experience with you, and I don't want this all on camera.
Imagine you were dating someone and they said that to you. You'd be like, jetpack, bro, eject button right
Yeah,
now.
we're done.
Well, I'm me.
And I'm a leader, and I'm me.
Okay, yes, there's one of a kind. Thank goodness.
The subtext there is because the Democrats cook all this stuff. It's like, it's my turn. The machine has given me my turn.
It's her turn.
And you can tell she's upset because they all submit the questions in advance. Here's what I want to get asked of me. No follow-up because obviously that never happens. I just get to say whatever the hell I want and look great.
The real problem with this is she's still most likely to win.
So Abigail Spanberger tonight said that she would not
Yeah,
withdraw
Spanberger.
her endorsement of Jay Jones,
Yeah.
who thinks it's fun to joke about murdering his Republican colleagues.
Yeah,
and who fantasizes about children dying. Complete
In their mother's
creep.
arms.
In their mother's arms.
Complete creep. Disgusting.
the
Terrible
as
man.
much as we can criticize these people,
But they're gonna
all
win.
we want. But the fact of the matter is, it's not just the people that are running; it's the people that are electing them. We've got half the country or whatever that feel like it's acceptable for people like this to be in public office. How many? It was like 30% of young Democrats think that violence is acceptable. In the most recent poll on this, like we've got a real big problem because these people that are young, these young people in 10 years, they're not going to be kids anymore, and they're going to be in positions of authority. And this is the argument, and this is the problem that was identified 15 years ago about woke people, right? Like woke people, it used to be, oh, that's an online online phenomenon. When people that were very online were saying, look, this is going to be a problem. Oh, that they're just kids on Tumblr. They'll grow out of it. They'll, once they get out of college and they get to the real world, blah, blah, blah. And what happened? They got out of college and they got into human resources departments, and you ended up having these people doing all the hiring. That means the only people they got hired were people that agreed with them ideologically. And that's a massive problem for our whole society. This is a real, clear, and present danger. In 10, 15 years, this is going to be a horrible, horrible situation in the country.
I will say
I totally
my
agree.
conservative cousin does human resources, and she's the only good human resources person that exists.
I want to mention this, Phil. I totally agree with you. And I remember when that was happening, people were going, oh, they're just crazy college students, or like it's just niche lefties on the internet. But those same people, they're like, there's a website that invented terrorism. It's called 4chan.
Yeah.
If you go there, you'll find out why our country has so many Nazis running around the streets. And it's like, okay, there was obviously a double standard at that point in time, because they knew that actually, even though we like to say the internet isn't real life, it is made of real people, at least it was at the time before we had all the bots.
Nowadays, the internet is not just real life. It is a prediction machine. If you pay attention to the things that people are saying on the internet, specifically young people, you can predict what society is going to be like in 10 years. And right now, it doesn't look effing good at all. At all.
Now, the real young generation, though, I mean, go look
Gen
at
Zs.
the Gen Zs. They're conservative.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, they are
There's
conservative.
none of them. We talked about.
I mean, they're voting for Trump. I mean, it's moving
There's
in that
not
direction.
enough of anybody.
I'll give you that, Riley. But we talk about this all the time. There is like the millennial generation was significantly smaller than Gen X. Gen Z is significantly smaller than the millennials.
Wait,
And they're-
millennial was smaller than Gen X?
Yeah.
But
And
Gen X was tiny.
I'm pretty sure.
Really pretty small.
I could
curious.
listen. So I could be wrong about that, but I know that that Gen Z is smaller than millennials and Gen Alpha is smaller than Gen Z. So if the younger people are actually conservative, that's great, but there aren't enough of them, and they don't vote. And you're talking about 50 years before they're a reliable voting bloc.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Now, before we move off of this,
Well, we're gonna watch
okay,
the
yeah,
clip, too,
let's
just so
watch
you
the
know.
clip. But if this isn't part of it, at some point, there's a great clip of her in a Batman costume. Yeah, so she dressed up as Batman and sat in a congressional hearing like that.
She must get out of my shot. I'm not over here like, why are you trying to insult?
You gotta
people's
find the
appearance,
Batman
But that
one.
one's crazy, and
You
I
gotta
want to hear
watch
what you have
this.
to say about it.
Let's watch this.
Can we see Katie Porter in the Batman outfit just so Nick can say something?
100%. We're gonna watch this first, and then we're gonna get that pulled up while we're watching this.
Dying prematurely to air pollution and other problems. And the
Of course,
state
this
could
person's
lose-
wearing a mask in the background.
Get out of my fucking shot.
Oh my god!
It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that if we don't meet the commitments under the Paris Climate
And she was wrong.
Okay, it does. Okay, you also were in my shot before that. Stay
she
out
sucks.
of my shot. Okay, I'm going to start again with electric vehicles saving us money.
They didn't bleep the word
prematurely.
effing, but they bleeped
It was
some
the
other
name.
word.
I think it was the person's
Okay, the person's
name.
It's like, what the hell did she call that person?
Did she say electric pickles?
Goes with the potatoes.
I'm so sorry, but I am about to get on. Bernard, I need you to turn these off. These that are killing me. Hang on 1 second, everybody. No, we should put the
Can you imagine taking this order at
Yes,
Starbucks?
yes, we should have. Yes.
sad.
Okay, everybody, I'm not that dark.
That's too dark.
Man, she's about to pour potatoes on somebody.
Just a minute.
Then it's just the name. Does she come back?
Yeah. Do we see? Do we have the pleasure of
Oh yeah.
seeing her again? Oh no! Does more happen in this
yeah.
video?
Okay, everybody,
Oh,
I'm
the lady in the
sorry
mask.
about
Get
that.
out!
I am in a TV studio getting ready to go on Cuomo. And so I had all those studio lights on me and I couldn't see myself or see you guys. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I prefer it with the lights off, so I can't
Yeah, I
see
thought
her.
that was
Did you
Can
see
we
that
find
as
Batman? Can we find the
Just
Batman
the
clip?
name.
Did you see that assistant just fleeing for her life?
Oh, she was terrified.
Oh no! It's like I'm in the background again.
Oh my gosh!
She's just with the mask. I bet she's told to wear
She
the
was
mask.
okay. She's Batgirl. Why did she do that?
Nobody else is in costume.
No.
It's not even Halloween. Even Rashida Tlaib is laughing at her. She looks ridiculous.
That's hysterical.
Wow.
How many people are in California? 30-something million? This is the front runner for governor
I
in
know.
California? Like, what are they putting in the water out there, man?
Yeah, you're not going to ask
any follow-up.
This one's great.
This is.
Oh
the
yeah, we
one
didn't
that
watch
started
this
off.
one yet, did we?
This one that started it all off.
So nearly
This is
every
the chef's
legislative
kiss.
40, Nick.
I don't want
40
to have
million.
an
Well,
unhappy
40 million.
experience with you, and I don't want this all on camera.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you either. I would
on
love to continue to
camera.
ask these questions so that we can show our viewers what every candidate feels about every one of these issues that they care about. And redistricting, it's a massive issue. We're going to do an entire story just on the responses
Oh,
to
she's
that
got a
question.
crucifix on.
And I've
She's
asked everybody
mogging
the
her, bro.
same follow-up
There
questions.
we go.
I like how I just stopped with that guy's face. Just like, huh. That just feels like inappropriate.
I gotta say, she looked better in the Batman costume than that dress.
Yeah, that side profile.
Oh, that was rough. Pretty rough.
I wouldn't want to be on camera either with that.
What is happening? Why are these the candidates? Listen, political leaders have always had some issues behind the scenes, right? Is it just that because we have the internet, we're able to see this stuff more often? Like if this happened 30 years ago, we never would have saw it. None of us would have ever seen it.
That is true. That's a good point. Now, what I'd like to know is who is that assistant? Is she like tied up in a basement somewhere?
Okay.
Like what is happening?
She's literally
with
got her
her?
in the bat cave, bro.
Is she only allowed to come out when she's doing TV appearances to turn lights on or something?
Oh my gosh. Well, look.
And I want to know if she wears the mask or if Porter makes her wear the mask. Is that her decision, or
I'm
does
curious
Porter
about that
say,
as well.
"Put that on when you're around me"?
Well, there was some. I saw some text messages come out today from a former staffer of Katie Porter. That was Katie blamed this person for the fact that she got COVID at one point.
Oh.
And so she fired the staffer by text message and said, "How dare you get me sick?" And so that's probably why everybody else was like, "I'm gonna freaking wear a mask all the time now."
Crazy person.
Yeah, there's something wrong with her.
That's a good point, actually. That's probably why those people were all wearing masks. That's a very good point.
I don't know why I get this like image of her pouring those potatoes. If you,
You're still on the potatoes,
if you
man.
all ever watched Game of Thrones, remember like poured like the melted metal on that guy who wanted to be king. At one point, it's like a crown for a king. Like that's what I figured. Like kind of what happened to him.
She's like, "Oh, you think you're the man of the house?
Yeah.
In the king's crown." Man, we've got another really wild story. I wish I could tell you we were bringing you something, a little more mild, but this is nuts. And it's a big story. Listen, regardless of where you land on this, by the way, this is a huge issue. So RFK said that circumcision is highly linked to autism. Now, I'm sure people are just going to run with that without the full context, but he did also say that it was because basically, and I don't even know if he did say this, but my understanding is he was making the argument that this is because babies are given Tylenol after they're circumcised. He wasn't just saying that like circumcised makes you autistic. But Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy stunningly claimed Thursday there may be a link between circumcision and autism due to the distribution of to Tylenol to infants following the procedure. I just want to point something out, by the way. I'm not a medical expert. I know nothing about this. I have not looked into what he's said about Tylenol. I'm not making a claim one way or the other. But what I am saying is, like, if it is the case that Tylenol does have that effect or that it could be contributing to it, then the circumcision thing and babies being given the medicine after that would actually be a link. So I understand why it sounds like a crazy statement, but it's only whether it's crazy hinges on whether his claim about Tylenol is true at all. But you can tell because, listen, it's kind of an unfortunate statement that it's just going to hit the ears very funny. I'm like,
This reminds me of on Arrested Development, Lindsay Bluth. Did you guys ever watch Arrested
Oh yeah, of
Development?
course, yeah.
And
yeah.
she had hoop hands off our penises. It was like the anti-circumcision group.
But
It's like RFK would totally go to that gala.
luckily, I had to make sure I pulled this up so I read it correctly here. We got a response that everybody was looking for from Jerry Nadler, one of the best intellectuals in Congress. He quoted it, said, "This is an anti-Semitic remark. I call on all my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to clearly denounce it." I missed the anti-Semitism here. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. First of all, I mean, I'll just be honest. I'm against circumcision. I think it's a bad thing to do. But let's just say that he's correct. Okay, well then the argument is about Tylenol after circumcision. So it's not even like an anti-circumcision statement. Actually, it's a statement about giving kids Tylenol right after you circumcise them.
Well,
I don't know how that could be anti-Semitic. Like Tylenol's not part of the ritual.
So 65 to 80% of U.S. males are circumcised, and Jewish people are 2% of the population. I have no idea what this has to do with circumcision. But yeah, go ahead. Or anti-Semitism. I know what it has to do with circumcision, or not anti-Semitism.
Yeah, I think part of it was what they're talking about in terms of Tylenol. Acetaminophen, which is Tylenol, actually doesn't have any pain relieving properties apparently in it. Also, full disclosure, I'm not a doctor. And that's what, people started moving towards ibuprofen, right? Like Advil, things like that, to be able to deal with that. And so it was, even doctors say it's like, unless you have like a super high fever, like 104, 105, like acetaminophen is something that could help address that. But at the end of the day, it's not has properties that deal with pain relief whatsoever, which is shocking if that's true, that we gave it to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in the country, young babies, when they were circumcised. And so there's obviously correlation that Kennedy's trying to draw here, right?
Double the rate of
So,
autism.
Well, yeah,
to that point, I don't know. I'm not a doctor either, but Excedrin has acetaminophen in it, and that is like the best headache medication I've ever had. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I'm just saying my experience is.
Oh, and I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I'm just saying this is what folks are saying.
If I got pain, if I got a headache or whatever, I'm going for Excedrin. Is what I'm saying. But
didn't Tylenol say something at one point?
Yeah, they were saying don't give this to your if you're pregnant, don't take this.
Don't take Tylenol.
There were tweets from Tylenol in 2013.
That's right. Yeah,
2017
yeah,
that said,
that's where I saw
we
that.
don't recommend that our product be taken by pregnant women at all.
Well,
I think they said pregnant people.
Oh, this is before that. This is 2013. 2013. Nobody believed that men could get pregnant. Nobody was claiming
We
that.
still believe
This is the
just
dark
women
ages.
could be pregnant.
That was, back in the dark ages. This is the other thing, too. I mean, when it comes to this whole conversation about Tylenol, taking Tylenol when you're pregnant, listen, I don't think you have to be that crunchy or that skeptical of the medical system to say people should err on the side of non-intervention, especially when they're pregnant. I'm not giving any medical advice here. I'm just saying, in my personal opinion, I don't think it's a crazy thing to say, let's be careful about the medicines we're taking when we're pregnant. Because, you're supposed to be careful about the kinds of food you're eating when you're pregnant. They say you're supposed to avoid certain foods that you normally can have. So it doesn't seem outlandish to me that somebody might say, hey, we recommend staying away from these medicines. Again, that's not me giving medical advice. I'm not an expert. I just find it interesting that when RFK says something, there's an entire explosion around the statement and everyone says it has to be false and he's nuts. But to me, I don't know. It doesn't seem that wild. Not necessarily his claim about circumcision, but just about avoiding certain interventions. Now, children. So this is what RFK Jr. said. We have this video pulled up here.
There's also there's many other confirmation studies. There's 2 studies that show children who are circumcised early have double the rate of autism. It's highly likely because they're given Tylenol. So, none of this is this positive, but all of it is stuff that we should be paying attention to.
But, there's a tremendous amount of proof or evidence, I would say, as a non-doctor, but I've studied this a long time ago. I met Bob to lose. Yeah, go ahead.
Now, again, we have this study here. I'm going to say this a couple other times just because this is Tim's channel. I want to be careful. I'm not a medical expert. I'm not making medical claims. But it makes sense to me that if you have a study that tells you there's a disparity between two different groups of people who you're trying to measure outcomes for, you probably look into that instead of laughing at somebody for pointing it out, no?
But what about this one?
What is this? Circumcision. All right. So this, according to this article, the pain of it is unlikely to cause autism.
Yeah, I had to bring it up.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, but was RFK saying that there was a correlation or was it causation? Or
He was saying there was a correlation. I don't know if he was even.
These are the stats. Because the thing, too, is that you can take any collection of information about a thing and put it together and say, here are stats, but that doesn't mean that those things are related in any conceivable way.
Yep.
No, it's true. And by the way, I want to mention that's an important distinction. Can we pull that up? Did he claim
stat,
it was
most people
causal?
Wearing blue shirts in the room are named Seamus.
That's true. Well, actually, I mean, there's the famous
and now, well, but he wasn't in the room when I said it.
People with the shark attacks, people like eating ice cream are more likely to be attacked by sharks, but it's because people eat ice cream in the summer, they swim in the summer, basically. I mean, yeah, correlation is not causation, but Kennedy did not specify the research to which he was referring, but a 2015 study out of Denmark that tracked nearly 343,000 Gen Z boys suggested that circumcised males were more likely to develop autism before the age of 10 compared to non-circumcised peers.
Right.
All right, listen, I have no idea what the relationship is there, but that's fascinating. That should be studied. I don't know why that wouldn't be studied.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't know why that wouldn't be further studied or why further questions couldn't be asked about that or why it's so insane that we would have a public official invested ostensibly in ensuring that the public is healthy bringing this up and asking this question about a widely practiced medical intervention in our country and the potential outcomes based on studies he's seen. I don't think that's so nuts. I don't think that's so nuts. You guys have any other thoughts? Any other thoughts on RFK's?
Look, man, I don't really have a whole lot of thoughts on this kind of stuff. To be flat out honest with you, I don't. Like when RFK is talking about like vaccines and stuff, I'm like, okay, man.
Yeah, Tylenol released a statement saying that they disagree. They didn't elaborate. They just disagree with...
We disagree.
We disagree. Of course you do. Of course, you're trying to sell Tylenol. This is really bad for marketing.
The thing that I thought was interesting is how many people have been coming at the HHS secretary for caring about what causes autism.
Oh, I know. Oh my gosh,
that's we still don't know. Yeah. And it's like there's a lot of kids running around with autism, and it's sort of bizarre. Why? Why are there so many? Why is this such an increasing thing? And so maybe he's getting the wrong answer, like perhaps circumcision is not a cause of autism, but there must be some cause of autism. And what is it?
Well, yeah, and I think one of the great things that Secretary Kennedy's been looking at is vaccines and the heavy metals that are in vaccines, and if there's causation there in terms of increased cases of autism. And he always makes this kind of anecdotal point, which is very true, though, and it's he does. Are there any adults walking around that he knows that he's friendly with that have autism that are his age? And no,
right.
But now in today's day and age, it's much, much more common. And he's just asking the very simple question of why is that?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't we want to know that?
No,
we should want to know.
You make a really good point, Libby, actually. That's under discuss. It's not like this is something that we know the cause of beyond a reasonable doubt, and he's just out here throwing these crazy theories at the wall. There has been an uptick, and people say it's because we're better at diagnosing it. Some are not convinced by that argument because they feel that, again, there are more people in there are more people in younger age groups that appear to have symptoms than older people. Listen, all way beyond my pay grade. I have no idea. I just think that if we're allowed to say that men can get pregnant, maybe we're allowed to ask some questions about what causes autism. I don't think that's crazier. I actually don't think it's more insane to ask questions about what's causing a disorder or disability that we don't know the origin of. I don't think that's super crazy.
Look, the situation with the way people are reacting to RFK is as simple as they associate him with Trump. It's the same thing that happened with Elon Musk.
Well, he's a traitor. So they really hate him.
Yeah, and also, but like Elon Musk, I'm not sure that traitor is necessary because they would hate anybody that Marco Rubio.
Sure, but they specifically hate the Democrats who have been red pilled.
I mean, I think
that's why they go so hard against Tulsi.
I don't disagree with you that they do. I don't disagree with you, but I don't think that that's necessary for them to hate. I mean, you look at the way that they treat Elon Musk. Now, of course, Elon Musk for a time was a Democrat, but the Elon Musk was like the poster boy for like the green revolution. He was making Teslas that were gonna solve global warming, and then, you know, as soon as he started saying, "Hold on, like this woke stuff is kind of crazy," like. Men can't become women and women can't become men. Like your biology is your biology. Then they turned on him and got to the point where
the Biden administration didn't even allow Tesla to have
insane
for the EVs, and they allowed all these crappy EVs to have it, and they wouldn't give Tesla the EV subsidy.
Yeah, they held this huge conference on EVs,
Yeah, that's
the
right.
Biden administration, and Tesla was the only company not invited to that.
literally built the current infrastructure for electric cars. I mean, I got a Tesla, and I can go all the way from here in West Virginia to my place in New Hampshire, and I will, there's charging stations all along the way. I mean, and they're all Tesla charging stations. That's a whole infrastructure.
Yeah,
but
I see them at the rest stops.
That's a whole infrastructure built by Tesla, still currently owned by Tesla, by the way, because like Musk owns all of that stuff. He doesn't have. It's not like he's got franchises like where BP has, someone actually owns the store and they just get gas and wear BP's colors. Like he actually owns all that. Part of why he's worth $500 billion now. But like. The idea that one company built this massive infrastructure that is actually is used by all electric cars now. Like everybody can go to a supercharger. Like,
is that right?
Well, if you have an adapter, they make adapters for different cars. Like my Tesla. My Tesla has an adapter that I bought with it, and I can use other companies' chargers if I want. But most of the time, I mean, very rarely do you go to a place that doesn't have a Tesla charger.
Well, the other companies' chargers usually are broken or they're not working for whatever reason.
But again, the guy built the infrastructure for this whole, the green revolution. He owns a solar company that, my house in New Hampshire has solar on it. I'm looking into getting house batteries now. Like all of this stuff is because of Musk, and they turned on
Tesla
him.
batteries?
No, I don't.
Tesla
I don't
solar
yet.
in New Hampshire.
I don't yet, but I
But to your point, as soon as he aligned himself with Trump, they started lighting Teslas on fire.
Yeah. Insane. Insane.
They just started torching dealerships, torching their own cars.
Immediate violence.
We stopped drinking a brand of beer, and they were like, "This is economic terrorism." They're like, "You know what? I prefer not to go to Target." They're like, "Hold on, calm down," and then they start burning down Tesla shops, dude. Like, what is happening?
Like burning Teslas. They try to pretend they liked Bud Light. They never did.
No, of course.
No, they never
people who drank it didn't like it. It was cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is you guys were talking about the lighting the Tesla dealerships on fire and all of that stuff. The Center for Strategic and International Studies, which put out a study that has been widely cited as right-wing violence is, worse than left-wing violence. That study on left-wing violence does not include attacks on Tesla dealerships and the vandalism against Teslas as left-wing violence. It just doesn't include it in the study at all.
I don't know if this is the same study, but one of those studies basically says that literally anyone with any kind of white supremacist tattoo committing any kind of violent crime, including against another white person, is considered a hate crime. So, for example, if somebody went to prison and then they were affiliated with a gang, because listen, prison's not this nice place where you're able to live out your principles. There are ugly things people have to do to survive. And you join one of these gangs, you get one of these tattoos, which is associated with some skinhead gang. You leave prison, you still have this tattoo, you commit another violent crime. Oh my gosh, this was like a neo-Nazi crime, even if it was a crime against another white guy or even a crime against another neo-Nazi.
Yeah.
Well, the left always finds a way to try to spin it as, it's actually right-wing violence. It's like, they were torching Teslas, but Elon Musk's violent speech is what provoked it. For this is actually right-wing violence.
They also say that Islamic terrorism, they align Islamic terrorism with right-wing violence. In this study.
Total fellow travelers.
Even though in America, the American left is marching in favor of Islamic terrorism all through our streets.
They tried to say that Charlie Kirk's killer was right wing because his parents were MAGA.
That's right.
This guy
You've
that's
never
loving
heard
all
of
the
youthful rebellion against your parents,
Trans, not I can't say the other word.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, right? You can't infer from the fact that he was in that kind of a situation, as well as the fact that he wrote like "catch fascist on the bullet" and said that he couldn't negotiate with Charlie Kirk's hate. Like, you can't infer from that he was left wing. But literally anything any white person does is a hate crime against anyone else if the person who's a victim happens to not be white.
This just speaks to what we were discussing earlier, which is the left. It doesn't matter what the truth is. It doesn't matter what reality is. They will bend and warp whatever narrative they need because, again, postmodernism is the philosophy of the day with the left. When people realized that socialism as an economic model didn't work in the 60s and 70s, the whole left was in a total train wreck, and they had to come up with some way to justify it. And postmodernism was right there. It's like, oh, hey, nothing matters. Nothing's real.
Yeah.
All you have to do is just use words as a means to exercise power, because if there is no truth, then if there is not this truth, then no truth matters, and we can just shove whatever we want into whatever. And now you end up with men thinking that if you chop off your penis, you're a woman.
Right. So
or even if you don't.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, there's no objective truth. There's nothing that we all can agree is true. Everything is subjective, based on an individual's interpretation. If some person says, I identify as a woman, now my truth has to be your truth. You have to identify with the truth that I have come up with here. So there's no just objective, like, this is true.
Yeah,
right?
and it's simple to understand that concept. It's like, well, if you're hiding behind a desk and someone walks in and looks around and then walks out, well, to that guy, he didn't see you, so no one was in the room. So to him, it's true that there was no one in the room, but you were still behind the desk.
Yeah.
Or like to Bill Maher didn't see the genocide, so there was no genocide happening. That's my segue. That's my segue to our next story. It's something you know a lot about, so I'm glad to have you here because it's something I'm really not educated on. I've been wanting to learn about, so I'm excited to ask you some questions.
Yeah.
But Bill Maher said that not Bill Maher. My mistake. Al Jazeera was saying to Bill Maher. My goodness, my apologies, Bill Maher. I read that totally wrong. Totally confused. No, Bill Maher. Listen, I have more credibility than 99% of the media because when I realized I accidentally said something wrong, I immediately corrected myself. And that's why you guys love Shimcast. My apologies, man. So this is an author at Al Jazeera, which of course I'm a huge supporter of. I love Al Jazeera. And they are telling Bill Maher there's no Christian genocide in Nigeria. Now, it happens to be the case that our guest knows a lot about this topic. So please inform us.
I do. Al Jazeera, otherwise known as Allah Akbar, great outlet there. So in any event, yes, so there's a Christian genocide going on in Nigeria, and I sent a letter here just recently, just a few days ago this week, to Secretary of State Marco Rubio to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. It's on my Twitter handle if you want to go look at it. Why is that important? If they're designated a country of particular concern, then they can no longer receive security assistance from the United States, which is a polite way of saying arms sales and training, which is currently underway right now with Nigeria. Now, why are we doing that? Because we want them to go out and fight Boko Haram. So Boko Haram and also IS West Africa. Boko Haram's more associated with like an Al-Qaeda. IS West Africa is more like ISIS. And then you have a third group in there, the Fulani. So I'll kind of go through all of these. But Boko Haram is the prevalent one that's been around for a very long time, IS West Africa. So the Muslim population of Nigeria mostly lives in the northern part of the country. The southern part of the country is where most of the Christians live. It's pretty close split 50-50. Then there's that middle band of the country where most of the killings are taking place. The Fulani are ones that's an ethnic group. Most of them farmers are the ones that are undertaking a lot of this indiscriminate killing. But just to give you a couple of examples, have been happening just this year alone. There's been 7,000 Christians murdered. That's 35 a day.
Oh my goodness.
Since 2009, 51,000 have been murdered. And so these folks are obviously Christian martyrs, in my opinion. In my view, they've been martyred for their faith. Amen. And it's a tragedy that's unfolding, and we're not doing anything about it. Now, to go back to that designation, why is that designation not there? President Trump put that designation on them, the country of particular concern, in his first term. And by doing that, it put the squeeze on the Nigerian government, which is run by a Muslim president and vice president right now. It put the squeeze on them to try to quell the killings in that country. And it did start to lessen the murders of Christians in Nigeria. The Biden administration took that designation off.
My goodness.
Why?
They took the designation off, and so
He's a devout Catholic, Libby.
Yeah.
Because he is a devout Catholic.
Yeah, speaking as a devout Catholic, I'd like to see that designation put back on. And just to be clear, this Christian population, they're not just Catholics. About a third is Catholic, third is Anglican, third is evangelical. So that kind of spans the gamut there. And this is a genocide that is happening there. And the United States needs to do something to tighten the screws on Nigeria. We have a lot of security assistance going on with them right now, and there's room for us to be able to turn up the volume or turn up the heat on them, so to speak, and hopefully stop this. It's continuing to escalate. They're kidnapping priests and murdering them. There was one they've had 200 priests in the last few years that have been kidnapped. They just had 54 people martyred on Palm Sunday, Ash Wednesday. They kidnapped and murdered a priest. That's just this year alone. And it's going to continue unless we do something. And that's why I'm urging Secretary of State Marco Rubio to redesignate them a country of particular concern. So that's kind of the lay of the land of what's happening there. No one seems to be talking about this.
Why not?
I don't know. And just to flash back to the 90s, I know some of us here remember it, Phil, and myself. We intervened in a conflict in the Balkans because a Muslim minority there was being persecuted and killed. Now, look, I've been to Srebrenica. That was a terrible thing that was happening there at that time. I'm not saying we need to go stick boots on the ground and go intervene in this militarily, but there are a lot of things we can do to Nigeria to stop this from happening, and there's a lot of tools in the toolbox for the administration to stop it.
So why was this not the first thing that Trump did when he got back into office?
Well, I mean, look, there was a lot of things President Trump has been trying to do and accomplishing, right? The One Big Beautiful Bill, all these other things, trying to focus on getting the American people what they voted for, which is to put the American people first, put America first, put the American worker first, and the family first. This is a huge issue. I know it's important to Secretary of State Marco Rubio. It's something he talked about when he was a senator. Ted Cruz has also a letter in the U.S. Senate that is the same as my letter. Good. He had some other senators join him on that. So we're hopeful that we're going to be able to ramp up the pressure in the House and the Senate on the administration to focus on this. Obviously, they're very busy right now trying to negotiate this historic Middle East peace deal that that was just first step of which was just signed. Huge deal. Not taken away from that, but we have tens of thousands of Christians that have been killed in Nigeria since this thing has been going on, and it's got to stop. No more. And look. We've got to stick up for our brothers and sisters in Christ in this. And it's time for people to stand up, be loud and proud about their faith. We're always looking out for all these other groups around the world. This matters too.
Yeah, it absolutely matters. And I'm embarrassed to say I don't know much about this. It's not something I'm informed on. That's why I'm glad that you're here to talk about this. It's something I certainly want to look into more so that we can talk about this more, because it's horrifying to think that this has been happening for years. It's almost never an issue in the news. Our government rarely talks about it. I'm glad that in Trump's first term, he did something about it. It's unsurprising to me that Joe Biden would undo that. If we're trying to give him some kind of charitable interpretation, or at least saying there was like an economic motivation and not just a sheer hatred for what's true, good, beautiful, and innocent, why would Joe Biden repeal this protection?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure why that happened. Some of it could be speculation here. The Nigerian government is saying everything I'm saying is untrue, right? Like this is false. It's not true.
Of course they would.
And obviously Al Jazeera is over here running cover for them. And the Democrats could care less about this.
When they were singing Kill the Boer, there was an Al Jazeera article talking about how like that wasn't. I remember I read this while
There were
ago.
a
I'm
lot
pretty
of-
sure it was
there were a
Al
lot of
Jazeera, but there were a lot of articles talking
Yeah.
about how like that wasn't genocidal rhetoric. I mean, of course, these people are all carrying water for the radical left, and this is something that comes up a lot because people will say, isn't it so strange that the left has this alliance with radical Islam? Because, you know, Muslims don't approve of homosexuality and they don't like transgenderism, and all the social projects that the left is pushing for are opposed to the values of Islam and the values of Muslims. But what you have to realize is this is not some unintentional quirk. The reality is the left emerged on the world stage in the French Revolution with the express purpose of killing Christians. And the only time the left has not done so has been when there were strong enough right-wing movements in the country to prevent it from happening. The left was marginalized to a degree in the United States where they were not capable of carrying out their bloodlust against innocent people. And for a very long time, they were still able to do so by slaughtering millions of completely defenseless, faultless, unborn children. And so people ask, how can the left align themselves with Islam? Because getting Christians killed is the project. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Those are their values.
Yeah, yeah. And this is why I think they turned a blind eye to this thing. And they just turned the security systems back on for them. Now, what they'll say is, well, there's non-Christians being killed in this as well. Sure. Yeah. Do terrorist groups kill other people? Sure.
Of course.
Sure they do. But there's a very targeted, systematic effort that's happening over there in Nigeria. It's very clear. I don't think they're kidnapping and murdering priests and thinking that that guy is not a Catholic.
Yes, exactly.
Right? I mean, it's very clear they're wearing a collar, right? So
The New York Times doesn't appear to have covered anything about
Nigerian nobody
since
is
2010. That's when they covered it, in 2010.
Yeah, nobody's
Nothing
covering
since.
this. I was fortunate enough to be able to speak about it actually on Fox News, Fox Business News. Maria Bartiromo gave me, platformed me there a little bit and let me speak about it, which put like the Nigerians over the edge. They're like, it's on Fox. They're all talking about it. And Fox, to their credit, has been speaking about it a little bit. But, this is why platforms like this are so important. I mean, we're talking about, the disinformation of the left and all this other stuff that goes on in this country. Can you imagine if like a podcast like this didn't exist, if platforms like this didn't exist, if, post-millennial, all these things that have come up, we'd still be living in New York Times world.
Yeah,
right?
we still wouldn't. We wouldn't know that there were so many of us who were eager for truth.
Yes.
In the New York Times, with Walter Duranty's reporting, was telling us that the Holodomor was no big deal when that was happening. They have a track record of ensuring that this kind of information does not get to the public.
But that's still the paper of record.
Exactly.
And that's why I think
He got a
it's-
Pulitzer, and it was never revoked.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, the end of the day, Christianity is growing like wildfire in Africa. And as a Catholic, I can say these people are on fire for their faith. A lot of Catholics now. It's where the church is growing the most is actually in Africa, the Catholic Church. And the interesting thing is obviously the West had gone and evangelized in Africa. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to be in a space here in the future where the Africans are going to start evangelizing in the West.
I agree with you. I think that's absolutely going to happen. They say history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. Something similar happened, during the Dark Ages, because Ireland had been so thoroughly evangelized and it was so far away from the rest of Europe. I mean, it's a little island. You had monks there basically copying over the Western
Saving
lexicon
Western
and making
civilization.
books.
How the Irish saved history.
Exactly.
The
No,
book.
it's true.
Yeah.
It's
That's
true.
it, yeah.
And they copied down like the Western lexicon. They basically were able to save all of this information. I foresee Africa doing that. If we don't turn our countries around in the West, it is going to be the case that our civilization is going to be preserved by African Catholics.
Well,
Yeah.
Africa also, though, Ethiopia is one of the first places where Christianity took root.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean,
they had
Africa wasn't colonized into Christianity.
No.
They had Christianity before Europe.
Exactly. Christianity has been in Africa before it was in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Predates
Absolutely.
it by a mile.
Yeah.
Man, well, listen, it's an important topic. Is there anything else you want to say about it before we move on?
No, I would just, anybody listening, please encourage your members of Congress to send either similar letters, contact my office. Please push on this issue. It is critically important. These are good people that are being slaughtered right now just for their faith, and it's a tragedy. So please reach out to your members, push on them to also urge the administration to help these folks.
Yeah, and of course, if you can, say some prayers for them. Say a rosary for the intention
Yes,
of
yes, please
Christians
pray.
in Nigeria. Please, please, please.
Certainly believe in the power of prayer. And yes, pray. Please pray. I know the left laughs at us when we talk about that, but it is very serious.
You know what? They know it's serious, and that's why they put people in prison in places like Australia for praying, or in Europe, Scotland. They'll throw people in prison. Yeah, exactly. They will throw people in prison for praying.
Or that
They know it works. They know. They actually know that it works. Man, it's going to be hard to transition.
That's why they laugh. That's what they laugh, because it works, and
That's
they're
right.
eager to make it look foolish, but it isn't foolish.
It terrifies them.
And after Charlie was killed and everybody went out and started praying, there were no riots. Everyone just got together and literally prayed.
And there is immense power in prayer.
I think.
And the sad part, though, was when they killed those kids, which makes me think of my own kids, at that Catholic school in Minneapolis, and the mayor came out and basically just mocked the idea of praying.
What a garbage person Jacob
Horrible.
Frey is.
Horrible.
Yeah.
It's just
terrible,
It's
terrible
actually
person.
disgusting. I mean, that also, it just shows you what a horrible position we're in as a country, that did not completely end his political career.
No, yeah, he'll win again.
I mean, how can you even show your face in public ever again after saying
Well,
something
because
like
he's
that?
got the Somali vote locked up there.
Yeah.
So he doesn't really have to worry about it.
Man.
He's got the Al-Shabaab vote, so.
Right? There it is.
Man. Well, in other news, the No King's Day protests, another round of them, are planned across the nation to oppose Trump administration. Here's what I have to say about the No Kings protests. We saw them happen before, and a lot of people were making fun of these protesters. They're saying these protesters are so old, and it's like, listen, you have to understand, they were there when we beat King George, so it's important to them that we don't see monarchy in the United States again. Of course, look at this. All right. This is something I learned as a child. I had a wonderful lesson in media optics when I was probably 10 years old. We were praying outside of Christ Hospital in Chicago because they were performing abortions at a hospital called Christ Hospital. Shameful.
That is shameful. That's pretty bad.
Disgusting. And we were there. There were a lot of young families. And a news crew came up. And of course, me being a 10-year-old, I'm like, oh, news, I want to be on TV. And my dad said, they're only going to talk to old people. That's all. And what do? They talked to one old couple there. I said, Dad, why do they do? They said, they want people to think that pro-life protesters are all like old church people. They don't want you to know young people believe this. They don't want you to know young families believe this. It is very important to the media. It is very important to the left-wing press that their cause is depicted as young, energetic people who care about the issues, and your protest is a bunch of old fuddy-duddies. It's kind of like the I already drew you as the soy jack meme. It's like, I already took a picture of an old person at your protest. You're done. But for these No King protests, they couldn't even find a picture exclusively populated with young people. Notice that. They couldn't even find one, because believe me, if they could, that would be the picture that we saw here. This is a protest for old people who are out of touch. They can't even hide it. They would love to. So, if you didn't think the antics were old enough already, a series of No King's Day demonstrations are set to take place nationwide on Saturday, October 18th. The protest, I just want to mention, I don't know if you guys know this, in Canada, they actually couldn't call it No King's
Right,
Day.
because they have a
which
king.
I think is like, which I thought was super funny.
So funny.
It's like in Pulp Fiction where they're like, do you know what they call a quarter pounder in Europe? It's like, do you know what they call the No King's protest in Canada? Yeah. But a serious...
What do they call it in Canada?
Dude, I don't even know what they called it in Canada. There was like no tyrants or something like that. Yeah.
I think it might have been.
The protests are organized as a response to
no
what...
tyrants.
Is that what they said?
Yeah, no
Of course. The protests are organized as a response to what activists describe as the Trump administration's increasingly authoritarian tactics. On October 18th, millions of us are rising again to show the world America has no kings, and actually, Jesus is our king. And so take that. And the power belongs to the people. No, okay. I mean, unfortunately, our country doesn't recognize that, which is sad. But we should. We should be a Christian
Poland just
nation.
declared that.
That was amazing,
Poland
dude.
is
Poland is always up
Yeah.
to something good.
Poland rocks.
Poland's always up to something good. So I just want to talk a little bit about this protest.
What does
You
it
see
do at
this?
the top?
They what they did here. So this is no thrones, no
Yeah.
crowns, no kings, and then down here they have a diagram of all the nursing homes in the United States. And so if you click on this, if you have that annoying MSNBC great aunt, like just put her in one of these places. Got a lot of them picked out. I think
Get her Birkenstocks and her gray bob. Yeah.
there was also another article I saw about this where they were talking about tying this specifically into like reproductive freedom, which of course, as we all know, is Orwellian newspeak for murdering babies. The whole thing's vicious. The whole thing's disgusting. The whole thing's terrible. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on it.
So this will be interesting for the audience. This date of October 18th is very interesting because obviously I get asked, when is the shutdown going to end? Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to end it before this happens. Mm-hmm. I don't think the Democrats are going to fold.
Then who's paying for it?
Well, I'm just telling you, these folks, they're not going to do that. Now, the 15th is certainly a triggering day because that is when our men and women in the armed forces need to get paid again. And I think, unfortunately, there is perhaps going to be a lapse.
They just sent the Senate home a few minutes ago. So
Yep. So there's going to be a lapse in payment for our troops. And if somebody out there is thinking, well, Riley, why don't you do something about it? The House did. We voted for pay for our troops. We voted for all of that. We voted to fund the government. We passed it out of the House. It sits over in the Senate where you've had almost every Republican vote for it, 2 Democrats and an independent who also caucuses with the Democrats. There's bipartisan support to reopen the government. You need 60 votes to get cloture, which means end debate and then actually vote on the bill. But I don't think they're going to capitulate before this, but we're all being held hostage because one guy, Chuck Schumer, is scared to death of AOC and the potential of her primarying him. And so I have called for several times, and I'll say it again, he needs to step aside and let somebody else lead because leaders are supposed to lead and take hard votes. They're not supposed to just hold the country hostage so you can win re-election.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Do you think it's likely that AOC will primary him in next year?
I do. She'll have the resources. She raises at least $10 million a quarter, if not more.
So this is something that we were talking about a little bit earlier, and you can actually speak to this, Riley. I personally think that AOC is the most dangerous Democrat in basically in Washington because she has such an ability to communicate with people. And the chat's going to freak out right now because I'm saying this because they don't like to hear things that are true. But she is incredibly charismatic and she can relate to people and she can, like you said yourself, she can raise tons of money. Mm-hmm. It's my thought that if she decides to primary Schumer, she'll win pretty easily. Schumer's old. He doesn't have a lot of people that back him nowadays. There is there's basically a civil war going on in the Democrat Party.
There is.
Is it the old school Democrats or is it the far left Democrats that are coming in, the young people like AOC, like the Squad? And I think
Mamdani.
Mamdani. Even though I'm speaking only to Washington, that's a great point. Mamdani, that type of basically it's socialists, and this isn't like hyperbole. These people,
no, they self-identify.
They caucus with the DSA and stuff like that. So, and if that is going to be, if AOC does win and she is the leader of the Senate, like the far left has won the Democrat Party. Then that means that there is no more war. The confrontation is going to be Schumer versus AOC.
This is their, how we had our fight with the establishment within the Republican Party. This is what's going on over there. The Mamdani one, though, is a good example, though, as well, because Cuomo is your establishment guy that they're just trying to jam in there, a Clinton guy, right? Like that old machine that they're trying to churn back up again. Schumer is the same thing. The thing about Mamdani or AOC is a better example, like Phil's talking about. She's outside of the machine. She has her own machine. She does not need the Democrat machine and that old machinery to go out there and win. She has a following. She is probably, in my view, the most dangerous Democrat in either chamber right now.
100%.
And at some point, she is going to run for president.
Not just the most dangerous Democrat in either chamber. She's the most dangerous Democrat in America.
Yes.
Because she can not only take... Congress people don't generally win the White House, right? She's not going to go from Congress to the White House. She's going to go for the Senate, And then after she serves, and possibly only 2 years. Look at how long Barack Obama was in the Senate before
Right,
he
very
ran up.
brief.
And 2 years is perfect
That
because
must
you don't
be
have
her
it. You don't have a
model.
record.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she has just as much charisma as Barack Obama did. And that is all you need. You don't have to have great policy, because legitimately the president is the person that signs off on bills. Sure, the president has the bully pulpit, but Congress actually writes the laws if they decide to write the laws. She could do a bunch of executive orders, but the fact that you came in here talking about how much money she can raise, you've walked by her in the halls of Congress.
Yeah. I mean, she engages with folks all over the place, and you can see her. She's an operator. I know we all make fun of her, like she's a goofball, whatever. She is a serious threat. She's a real politician who has, unfortunately, some serious capabilities that are really scary, to be honest with you.
But every time you see her on TV or answering a question, she makes a fool out of herself. I mean, I don't know who you're talking about, who she's relating to. I mean, maybe you're talking about, relatively speaking, in terms of Democrats, who everything that they do is coordinated, and not even coordinated very well. It's I go back to looking at that. Do you remember? I don't remember exactly what it was, but there were like 40-something members of the House on the Democrat side that were given a script and an exact way of doing it. They were all holding the microphone in the same position, all synced up, and she didn't participate in that. I don't believe. But I mean, is that what you mean by
the Bernie voters, all the people that loved Bernie?
That's why
Bernie
they tore around the country together.
She's been on that whole tour, and a lot of the way that she's relatable is literally on TikTok and Instagram and all of this, because she will do. I follow her on Instagram because I want to catch a story before somebody else does. But she will go on these platforms and she will just talk to people. She will sit there. She will cook while she's talking. She'll have a glass of wine. There was the famous one where she was drinking wine and putting together her IKEA furniture. That's hugely relatable. And it certainly was at the time.
So let me give you a huge example, though, here, just real quick. She stood in front of that U.S. Capitol, talked about the Green New Deal, and we just laughed at her. That's a law. The Inflation Reduction Act is a law.
Yeah,
and we said, no, she's not driving policy for the
She is. She's the most, people don't want to admit it. I think she's the most powerful Democrat in Washington right now, even though she doesn't hold a position of leadership. If she decides something and wants to push something, she will get enough people on her side where it will actually happen. Just like you said, the Inflation Reduction Act was just the Green New Deal. It was comedy gold when you first heard about it. Well, just like you said, it is law right now. I mean, there are people that think that I'm ridiculous. I'm telling you, she is the most dangerous person in Washington, D.C. And it's not just dangerous to Republicans, it's dangerous to the country because her policies are absolutely terrible.
Well, this is what's going on with the Democrats, right? They have no leadership. You saw President Trump just the other day talking about, the Democrats, they come to me and I don't even know their names. They have no leaders. It's like Somalia, he said. And I think that everyone knows AOC's name. Right? I mean, if AOC goes to the president, he's going to know exactly who that is. And everyone in America knows who that is. Everyone in America knows her by her nicknames. She's had a lot of slings and arrows at her, and she's still come out on top. And she was the first one, right? She was the first one. She was like the leader of the squad. She was the first one to really start pushing the Democratic Party away from the old machine that, runs Chicago, Boston, used to run New York until this Mamdani fellow comes in. Yep. She was the one who really started pushing the party far left. And now people are afraid of her. And people are also afraid of, the people who are coming up behind her. That's why Hakeem Jeffries has neither endorsed nor not endorsed Mamdani. That's why you saw Kathy Hochul bend the knee to Mamdani. And then you know what? He did not endorse her back. And that's what she was really banking on. And he doesn't have to because he has AOC in his corner and he has all of this stuff. So the Democrat Party is going to move further to the left. Yep. They're going to continue to advocate for, leftist violence. They're going to continue to pretend Antifa isn't part of what they are while encouraging them with their rhetoric to go out and cause mayhem. And this is what we're going to be facing. I mean, we're going to be looking in 2028 at MAGA versus the far left.
Yes.
And it's really just going to be a question of what the American people are going to believe is going to do right by them and their kids.
And if the current Republicans aren't successful, if MAGA, quote unquote, isn't successful, the people that come after MAGA are going to be your Nick Fuenteses. They're going to be the people like that far, like they think that Donald Trump, the middle of the road people and the left think that Donald Trump is far right. They have not seen far right. We have not had an actual far right party in this country that would be even looked at for probably 40, 50 years.
But who would support something like that? I mean, MAGA is not far right, right? We're like pro-America. We're pro
Zoomerwaffen.
Zoomerwaffen.
I'm not kidding around. Listen, you can laugh, but remember, we were all laughing about AOC. 7 years ago.
Think about this.
My son is a Gen Z conservative right now, and he's very far from Zoomerwaffen.
I'm not saying that your son is.
No, I
but
know, like his crew, like that's not their jam.
Look, I'm telling you, all it takes is an economic problem. Right?
Yeah, dude, you're totally right about that.
An economic issue, and we've been going pretty well in this country economically, except for except for COVID. We've had 15 years of really solid economic growth. Right now, there's a massive amount of people that are starting to default on their credit cards. There's probably a bubble in both the housing and on the stock market. The stock market is hitting all-time highs every couple days.
Scares me.
There's a mass.
That means like it could just get wiped out.
It absolutely could. These are bubbles because we printed so much money in the past 15 years. Since 2008, they've been printing money and printing money and printing money. This is all going to pop at some point. And if Republicans are in the White House or in control, the Republicans are going to get blamed. And that means the MAGA Republicans are going to get blamed. The socialists are going to actually get into power. And the response to the socialists, Zoomerwaffen. I'm not kidding. This is not something, and this is not me saying I want this.
I think you're totally right. I think you're completely right. I think you're totally right. It's hard to argue against any of that, actually.
But with AOC, think about this, is if you are a House Democrat, say you're in a D plus 20, would you rather have Chuck Schumer's endorsement or AOC?
AOC in a heartbeat.
10 out of 10.
100%.
Right? And that's on our side, right? It's, would I rather have Thune or Trump? You want Trump, of course, right?
Every time, yeah.
She is out there building her own coalition, her own members.
She's aligned with the DSA. Like,
she's I love that where it's like, oh, I'm not a socialist, I'm a democratic socialist. It's like,
no, that's
DSA,
just an adjective for your socialism.
DSA tweets how they follow what was the phrasing they used? The immortal science of Marxism. Like that is an actual tweet from the Brooklyn DSA. So this is not just the talk of civil war, right? This is talk of like repeating the first half of the 20th century. Mm-hmm. Well, all that stuff's on the table.
Well, it's also like, every single conservative is a fascist, but like lefties who call themselves socialists aren't socialists. It's a different kind of socialism. They're like, well, I'm not a fascist, I'm a democratic fascist. It's a little different. Mm-hmm. It's not exactly the same thing.
Sorry to be such a downer, guys, but
no.
This is the big thing that I'm scared of,
And I know I plug this a lot, and I always want to evangelize, but the reality is that's also why I think it's important to have a robust Catholic political movement in your country, because those are going to be the people who counter the far left.
Amen
other than the Zoomerwaffen. It's really going to be between the Catholics and the Zoomerwaffen on the right. Those are going to be your options. We need a robust, strong Catholic movement so that when the radical left becomes ascendant, and when the far left, like the coalition that Phil is talking about, end up taking channels of power, if they do, that there is a good, thoroughly right-wing position that is not insane and barbaric, and that is the Catholic position. So, go ahead, Libby.
Remember, Fuentes is Catholic, so.
Well, a lot, yeah.
Just riffing on the Catholic thing.
But there's a lot of conversations to have about like a specifically Catholic political movement, for sure.
I think one thing that is important in terms of bringing Christianity back to the fore is that for years this was primarily a Christian nation, and our values and traditions and cultural norms and civil norms were based on Christian values, how you treated people in public and all of that. And then basically atheism took over, and after a couple generations, people are raising their children atheist. and eradicating Christianity from public life. And the problem with that is the peaceful atheist society that we had was actually based in Christian values. They just didn't name them. But now that it's been several generations, it's been a couple of generations anyway, those atheist sort of norms are no longer based in Christianity at all because it's been eradicated from public life so strongly. And it's been interesting to see this sort of like nouveau revival movement. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, when I was in, I guess, middle school, probably, like, we learned about revival movements in the United States that were like in the late 1800s or whatever, and or maybe 18, whatever, I don't know, around there, who knows, somewhere. But we learned about these revival movements, and our teachers basically told us that they were snake oil salesmen and that they were all, you know, stuff and nonsense, and that it was people just getting fooled by everything. And I'm looking back on it and I'm like, no, I think probably America needs a good revival movement every generation or so.
Well, and the founders knew that, right? So I know we all know this quote, but John Adams, right? Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. And, you know, I look at West Virginia and the great things we've been able to do. We have outlawed abortion. There's different weeks out there. We are 0 weeks in West Virginia. We are the only state that came in and passed a law that says 0 weeks post-Dobbs. How did we do that? It was a coalition of evangelicals, Southern Baptists, and Catholics all coming together and pushing on this pro-life issue that's so important to me. And I'm just so proud of our state to be able to do that. But I think that type of coalition effort, you go back to the old conservative movement, the fusionist movement, right, where you had your war hawks, anti-communists, libertarians, and social conservatives all coming together to defeat communism, right? I think the coalition is going to look different, and it's going to look more like what we were able to do here in West Virginia in terms of our Christian coalition we put together to pass that law and make West Virginia easily one of the most pro-life states in America.
We also passed a state constitutional amendment saying no euthanasia ever.
We did. We put that in our state constitution. Great. I worked on that referendum, and we put it into our state constitution.
Well, that's why I just want to flag this. I know I talk about Catholicism and a Catholic political movement. I want to evangelize, but obviously, like in the foxhole of politics, when we're fighting that battle, yes, we have many Protestant allies. They're fantastic. I also think that young evangelicals and young Protestants are way more conservative in their beliefs than older generations are. That's certainly a good thing to see. You love to see people move closer to the truth in that way. So yeah, even though I don't fully agree with them, I think it is really important to work with them. And I think especially on the abortion movement, they've been great allies.
Oh, absolutely.
Or I should say on the anti-abortion movement.
Yes, anti-abortion movement.
Yeah. Any other thoughts before we move to Super Chats?
Let's go.
Go for it.
All right, let's go over to Super Chats. Shane H. Wilder said, the return of Timcast IRL, hosted by a man who has never stolen a spoon. Thank you, Seamus. I really appreciate that. He actually said hosted by everyone's favorite spoon thief, but that was not morally accurate. Let's scroll. Sorry, I'm just trying to.
That's all right. You can make it bigger if you want.
Okay, Topo Enterprise for $10 said that C.S. Lewis says that we try to justify our hypocrisy because we can't bear the thought that we've done wrong. Notice that the left doesn't try to justify the actions when they pull a total 180.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you guys think of that?
I mean, like I said, you know, we talk about it a lot. The left doesn't have, they're not hypocrites, because for them to be hypocrites, they would actually have to believe one way or the other.
Yeah, you can't contradict values you never held.
Exactly.
People who don't believe in anything love to accuse everyone else of being hypocrites. It's like constant.
But again, that's not that they believe you're a hypocrite. It's just about power. It's about if I can say this and make this person believe, and then I win the argument, and not even make the person believe, make the people watching believe, then I win the argument, and that's all that matters.
Will to power.
Yep.
Is this the one you're pointing me to?
Let's go this way.
Okay. Gimbal on Do sent $5 and said, going to talk about the riots in New York streets of terrorists calling for intifada. Did you guys hear about this? I haven't followed this story.
That was messed up. Yeah, it was very messed up. You had a Harvard graduate wandering around outside of Fox News building saying that they had to, encouraging protesters to chant along with him about going harder and going stronger than they did on the first October 7th.
Wow.
And the protest was called Flood New York. And of course, the Hamas massacre was called Al-Aqsa Flood. So in what reality are they not calling for a massacre in New York City?
Well, it also sounds like we've already flooded New York with people from other cultures that aren't compatible with ours.
Yeah, this was a Harvard grad student. And then you also had everybody's favorite Columbia grad, Mahmoud Khalil, up at Columbia University, complaining more about how there's not enough jihad or something.
Wait, why can't we deport this guy again?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, in part because he has extremely powerful lawyers who are funded by deep pocket not-for-profits.
He's not a U.S. citizen.
No, he's got a green card.
I don't care what he's got.
I agree with you.
And that's what
Just
this is.
telling you.
Again,
Yeah, I
I
agree with
mean,
you.
this stuff is so nuts to me because regardless of whether you fall on like the Israel-Palestine issue, the idea of calling for another October 7th is insane and disgusting. It's just
And calling for it in New York.
yeah, we get accused of incitement to violence for like every single thing we say. If you won't call a man and address a woman, you're accused of inciting violence against them.
The Portland police chief blamed me for being assaulted for filming. He went on TV and said that. I mean, like,
Yeah, the Portland police called Katie a counter-protester.
Yeah.
It's like, have you not? No, she's been publishing work on this every single day since June.
Yeah, that's.
I have a lot to say about those people, but I could take all night doing that.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, that's
They
totally.
deserve it. They deserve to be excoriated. It's ridiculous that we have to put up with this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the government, the law enforcement is supposed to, uphold the law, not attack journalists or whatever that are there covering stories.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Buck Bolt 93 says, don't know if you guys saw, but Pam Bondi's DOJ is ordering to a gun foundation and gun policy hand over a list of their members.
Yeah.
What happened to Trump being more 2A? Gun owners won't show in 2026. What is that about?
Is that the Salt Lake thing?
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, I'm not sure the details. I heard about it, that there was a decision. They want a list of I don't know what the gun group they're referring to, but she asked for a list of members. And
Was it like John Brown Gun Club or something?
I don't know.
one I
I
could
wish.
support.
Yeah, like that one would make sense to me.
There was also that group in Seattle where there were like people out at a protest, a bunch of leftists, and the leftist guards of the protest shot an unarmed civilian.
Shocker.
What?
Yeah, they thought they were aiming for somebody else and they missed.
Yeah, let me look. Bondi DOJ denies universal relief and requests gun rights group private membership. What was the gun rights group? That's what I'm curious about. Because if this is like the John Brown Gun Club, that is not the same thing. That's not the same thing. But if it's like a legitimate gun rights organization, then that's not good. That's seriously not good. And I'll call it out as not good. I just want more information because I
might have
feel
been
like
the,
we just get a lot of information that isn't complete with these stories, and then people run with it. And it's like, I want to know.
There was some concern that the partner of the suspected Charlie Kirk assassin is part of a like queers gun group thing. So I wonder if it's part of that.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned the John Brown Gun Club. Like these more left wing organizations, or like radical leftist organizations.
Yeah, or like the pink. I think it's called like Pink Pony Gun Club, and it's specifically for trans persons to practice how to use their weapons so that they can fight against anti-trans legislation. in
That's
states.
insane. I mean,
It
it's
is
literally just
insane.
calling for violent insurrection.
Yes, that's what they're doing.
Fighting against legislation with guns.
So no, it's
Yeah, that's the idea.
terrible. According to Grok, firearms, FPC, Second Amendment Foundation, and Louisiana Shooting Association, in the lawsuit Reese versus Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive, challenging Louisiana's ban on handgun purchases for adults under 21, the U.S. Department of Justice under Attorney General Pam Bondi filed a brief requesting a verified list of members from these three gun right groups who were enrolled as of November 6, 2020. The goal is to limit court relief to only the individual plaintiffs and verified organizational members rather than all affected gun owners. On October 7, 2025, a federal judge in the Western District of Louisiana ordered the groups to provide the list within 21 days, but the Second Amendment Foundation has refused, calling it an unconstitutional demand for a gun owner registry and is exploring appeals. I'm a member of FPC right now, so
So based on your research, it sounds like they're just going after some regular gun club.
Yeah, FPC is one of the biggest gun rights organizations.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. I don't know why they would be doing that.
Second Amendment
I don't
Foundation
know why
is very
she would
big
be
as well.
doing that. That's really.
Well,
I don't like that at all.
FPC said they're just not going to comply, so
Yeah.
that's good. I respect that.
Yeah.
It never provided a list of our members to the government, and never will. So okay, good.
Part of the situation, this part where it says the goal is to limit court relief to only the individual plaintiffs and verified organizational members rather than all affected gun owners. I'm not sure the details in this particular one, but there was a finding about pistol braces, which has since been settled, but there was a injunction that was passed preventing the government when Joe Biden was president, in the Biden administration, saying that everyone that was a member of any of the three other groups that were appealing the decision, if you had a pistol brace, you were covered. And that's exactly why I'm a member of FPC. So I don't know what the details are, but it seems like they're trying to make sure that it's only people that are affiliated with these, with FPC, Second Amendment Foundation, and Louisiana Shooting Association, that are covered by the law. But
it's a good flag, though. I'm going to take a look at it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Louisiana has a ban on handgun purchase for adults under 21. I thought that the Supreme Court already ruled on that if you're under 21, your Second Amendment rights are protected. If you're 18, you can own a handgun, and I thought they decided that, but I could be wrong, But
yeah, take a look.
So we'll look into that, or Riley, Congressman.
Philosopher King sort of. Oh, sorry about that. Philosopher King sort of said the wife is in active labor with our first child. She will be raised to respect God and hate critical theories. Psalm 139, 19 through 24. God bless you. Good for you. Congratulations.
Love to hear it.
Congratulations.
Love to hear it.
We're very happy for you.
We love to hear it.
Kevin Taylor says it puts the lotion on its skin or it gets the mashed potatoes again. Tomahawk had a beautiful message. Thank you. This is wonderful. He mentioned that he, after 12 years, has returned to the Catholic Church. That's beautiful, dude. God bless you. Also, that he donated to the Twisted Plots campaign and loved the first episode of Twisted Plots. Good luck, brother. Thank you, dude. God bless you. Thank you so much for that. We massively appreciate that. If you guys, we have a special promotion running tonight. If you donate $10, you'll get to watch our 25-minute long pilot. Let's see some other chats here. This is interesting. Pineapple Water. Iran in the 70s, socialism, Marxism, leftists with Islamists together until Islamists eradicated the left for 45 years. IRGC, Islamists still in power.
Mm-hmm. It's true. The left that thinks the left is so anti-America and anti-Western.
Yep.
They'll align with anyone that's against America and Western values. But if they align with the Islamists are they're not shy. In case they don't remember what Syria was like, or in case you don't remember what it was like after 9/11. There was a lot of videos on the internet of heads being cut off and the like, people being burned alive in cages submerged in pools so that people could drown. They will not tolerate the left. They will align with them and help them win. And then when the Islamists and left win, the Islamists will then look to the left and they will start cutting heads off.
Well, and a reformed a man who was a son of one of the Hamas leaders and who left that whole organization said that the left in the United States are just useful idiots.
Yeah.
And Hamas is using them.
No true statement.
Obviously they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't help themselves. They because again, they don't believe that anyone actually believes anything.
No.
Right.
They can't. They don't have a theory of mind that other cultures are different and believe differently. Like committed Islamists are committed Islamists. They really believe what they say. It's not just talk. It's not at all just it's not a pose at all. You look at, I forget who it was, but the UAE and they talk about how they got rid of the Muslim Brotherhood, right? And they talk about how foolish the West is for allowing people that agree with the Muslim Brotherhood. They're like, they literally say things. You can just Google it on YouTube, and you'll see, people that are in the UAE government. They're like, you people are fools.
Yeah.
Why we as Muslims, as Arab Muslims, we don't have these problems because we don't tolerate it. You people are completely foolish to allow these people into your country and to behave the way they do. The reason they don't do that in our countries is because we don't let them. And like people that think that the Middle East and people in the Middle East are just like Westerners, and this is something that Barack Obama said too, and it was a terrible, terrible thing that he did. He said, look, these people that are in the Middle East, and this is when the Syrian civil war is going, they just need jobs. This is economic.
Right. It's economic.
Yeah, no, you see someone,
you see someone
like, you see someone killing civilians and you go, get a job.
Because these people
it's like, dude, that's not why they're doing it.
These people are naive. They think that everyone else thinks like Westerners. Cultures are different. If you're talking about cultures where it is acceptable to kill homosexuals because they're homosexual, or to cut people's hands off because they're thieves, right? Like whether or not you believe that actually is cruel and unusual, the point that I'm making is these people see the world very differently to the left, and the left are allowing them to infiltrate their ranks. And if the left wins and actually wins the culture war, they're going to lose against the Islamists.
Yeah, but it's worth it to them because they just want Christians to die in their hearts.
The left is just useful idiots.
Yeah, the left,
they're malleable.
I'm not saying every individual leftist wants that, but I'm saying like that is how leftism operates in history.
Yeah,
and a lot of the true believers, that is really what they want. But it's funny you mentioned they don't have theory of mind, and I agree with you, but then they don't believe other people believe things, but like they do believe you believe in white supremacy. Like they're like, no one thinks differently from me, but you're a white supremacist.
No, that's a
you don't think I think they believe it.
No, that is a way to access power.
I think they believe it.
They don't. No, they don't.
I think they do think you're racist. I 100% think they think you're racist, bro.
I don't think it matters like to them really, because they say racist things all the time.
I know, but they don't see that it's racist when they say it because they don't have the institutional power, or they're not fighting on the side of the institutions.
They don't think it's racist because they don't believe in racism.
They don't believe in anything.
But the point that I'm making is
the oppression victim hierarchy.
Yes, they do believe in that.
The overthrow of the United States.
Yes, but that's why they could. But the reason,
and they think God is dead.
They don't believe that. Like they believe that Larry Elder is the black face of white supremacy. Do you like they will say that black people can't be racist,
sure,
but then they'll also say that Larry Elder is racist. Sure. So it's not that they believe you're racist. It doesn't matter what they say they believe. It's all about power. It's only about accessing power.
Well, do you want to circle just real quick to that?
Go.
Just to, because we were talking about Islamist extremists. In Nigeria, they did just pass a law recently that blasphemy is punishable by death. Mm-hmm. You get the death penalty for that.
Part of the reason I say that we can say they do believe that Christians should be heard, they want Christians to be heard, is because you're right, they play language games, but when you look at their actions and when you look at the actions of the left historically, that's what they've done. Everywhere they've come to power, they've slaughtered Christians.
But the reason they slaughter Christians is because Christianity gives you a foundation of belief. Christianity gives you a right and wrong. It gives you a way to judge them.
I think
that's why they hate Christianity. And I'm not saying they don't hate Christianity.
No, I see it differently. I think so. There's two main theories. There's one theory that like they want to destroy the family and they want to destroy Christianity because those things are standing in the way of socialism. I believe that like the actual entire purpose of socialism is they do want to destroy Christianity. They do want to destroy the family. I think that's the center of the bullseye for them.
They do but it's not. But they do that because it stands in the way of their revolution. It is.
Well, I think it's the point of the. That's where we disagree. Is like I think it's the point of the revolution. I think even if they didn't have a revolution, they would still want to do that.
Now, for the Islamists,
I think the revolution's an excuse. That's my point.
The Islamists, they align themselves with the left, and obviously they wouldn't align with us, but they know that the right, specifically the Christian right, we're not malleable.
That's true.
We have values. We have principles. We believe in God. There's nothing above God. They're just the opposite evil coin of that, right?
Yep.
And so for us, we are a threat in their mind. And so that's why it's alignment of convenience, right? In between the left and the Islamist extremists that are out there.
No Name Farmer said, Seamus, make a video where Sortor's camera magically causes riots whenever turned on. And that's when the cops arrest him for disorderly conduct. Dude, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. It is your fault. You did cause that riot by filming it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
It's Schrodinger's riot.
Filming is violence.
By filming it, you change it. It's a quantum riot. By observing it, you change the outcome.
That's good.
Oh my gosh, should I read that one?
You say it, and then we're laughing about it, but this is what the police chief is saying.
That's the law. And this is Jaeger Faust 83 says, from the fence to the tree, Hassan's dog will be free.
That was brutal.
Oh my gosh, we may or may be working on a cartoon relevant to that.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay.
Then we have, man, I'm gonna embarrass my. No, I don't want to read that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. All right, Timothy Brock said, the wife and I are having our 6th and final child in January. In light of recent events, we've decided to name him Charlie. Man,
Well,
Wow.
God bless you.
awesome to hear.
God has blessed you with children, and God bless you for welcoming all that life into the world.
so wonderful.
God bless you. God bless you. Poppins Patch's video says, my wife is a pretty MAGA pediatrician. RFK is driving her nuts. The lack of citing the studies he's talking about or the studies he cited. Don't say his claims. Now I send her articles to work her up. That's like a good husband. You got to get her upset every now and again. And no, it's funny because listen, I know doctors who are concerned. I know one doctor in particular who's more conservative, like kind of libertarian conservative, and he sort of likes RFK, but he'll say things like that too. That's why, again, my whole point is I don't think we should treat it as so wild that RFK is asking questions about autism, like you mentioned earlier. I don't think it's so nuts that he has questions about various interventions, but I've heard that from medical professionals, like including some conservative ones. Let me. No. Sorry. Ms. Formisi said, these people cheered for forcing people to stay in their homes, get vaccines, and wear masks. They either have no idea what authoritarian means or are just horrifically ignorant. Absolutely. This is. Oh, sure. Sorry, we moved to another tab here. Here, can you let me? Sorry. No. Dilly442 says Islam is using the left to take over America. I think we all agree with that. Like you mentioned, their beliefs are so malleable. So if what you were trying to do was find a fault within a system to exploit it so that you could change it, that's what you would do. I mean, that's who you would basically go after. You would try to become part of some left-wing political coalition. This is, okay, the Deep Fryer says, hey, Prayercast IRL, I humbly ask you all, pray tomorrow between 7 and 8 p.m. CDT for a pastor friend who has stage 4 cancer.
Oh, my goodness.
And has been suffering. He's young with 5 young children.
Oh,
God heals. Please pray for this man. Please pray for this man and his family. Oh, that's horrible. And his poor wife. Oh, that's horrible. Pray. Baitcaster says, tell him, Phil, Zoomers will change the union. It's going to be interesting to see interesting, by which I mean horrifying, to see what the declining birth rate does to politics. Obviously, there's if we're importing foreigners to try to make up for that, but
that only makes it worse.
Yeah.
Not on my watch.
Yeah, amen. But then how do we... And there's a question how do we get legacy Americans, heritage Americans to start having large enough families again to meet replacement? Because it's not even just the case that's we used to have, everyone was having 6 kids and now everyone's having 3 kids. It's we're not even at replacement anymore.
No.
We used to be 2.5. Like the joke was, married couple with white picket fence and 2.5 kids, and that was sort of like, oh, those doofus jokers. And now nobody has, people are not having 2.5 kids.
Hot take that's going to get me in trouble in the comments section. Young people are replacing children with dogs. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
There are.
dude. All right. So I wanted to mention
That's-
this when we
there's
were
many
talking about the
examples of
Hassan
that
thing.
in my family.
Yeah. I wanted to mention this when we were talking about the Hassan thing because he has this dog sitting behind him and it's sort of a prop there. And when it moves, he got mad. Okay, this is and I love dogs. I love animals. But I think what happens with certain people is because an animal can't speak to you, it is easier to project your personality onto it. And therefore, that is why a lot of very selfish people are like very obsessed with animals. I'm not saying you're selfish if you're obsessed with animals. I really love dogs, but I am saying there's a certain kind of person who's like, I love my doggo. And it's like, no, you don't. You just project your ego onto it. And that's why when like the dog gets up in the middle of a stream, you freak out and hurt it because like you don't actually love it. You see it as a tool to bolster your own ego.
Well, people need somewhere to put their love. And so they put it all on their dogs or their dumb cat.
Yeah, and I feel like a little bit bad for these people that constantly are posting photos of their dogs like they are children.
Hey, I'm not saying
treating
the
them
people
like
who
they're
like
children.
push their dogs or their cats in strollers.
Yes. What is up
That's
with
what
that?
What's going
that's what I'm talking
on?
about.
I just
Now,
want to.
I will say that I have a leash and harness for my cat, but that's only so that I can let her sit on the porch.
And that's a leash. That's different. But I want to make clear too. I'm talking about a very specific kind of person. I'm not saying everyone who has pets or like everyone who was infertile and couldn't have kids and got pets or something is that kind of person. And I agree with you. I do feel bad for a lot of these people when they post this stuff.
JD hit the nail on the head, cat ladies.
Yeah, it's sad.
sure.
Yeah.
And that's why all the lefty Swifties are so mad at Taylor Swift for getting married.
Yeah.
Because she's going to be leaving their rank.
Have you read have you seen the TikToks about reading her lyrics and being like, oh my God, she's on the alt-right pipeline now?
Yeah.
Wait, who?
Taylor Swift.
Remember when,
Look, this is
Charlie Kirk got slammed for being like, Taylor, submit to your husband.
Look, this is something. So before the Super Bowl last year, it's time to go. I'm not going to get into it. Anyways, we can get.
Are we gonna? Do you want me to read this one more? Yeah, we're gonna read one more chat from Sherry Sugary. I'm so sorry. I'm having trouble with that last name. Cherry Sugary says, service members space out their bills because the government makes them get paid on the 1st and the 15th. I have never seen them not pay the military in my 20 years of service during a shutdown. What can we do to help them pass a bill?
Nothing.
Get Democrats to vote for it in the Senate. It's already passed in the House. We have passed the bill in the House. Get the Democrats to vote for it in the Senate.
Well, the actual question is real quick. I'm sorry. Is can there be a standalone bill just for that? I know.
You can do anything, sure, but we have passed a bill to fund the military in the House. They just got to vote for it in the Senate.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping by. We're going to go to our after show segment here soon, but first I want to give everybody a chance to sign out and shout out whatever project they're currently working on or whatever it is they want to promote. Libby?
Oh, I will promote some stuff. My name's Libby Emmons. You can find me on Twitter at Libby Emmons. You can check out everything we're doing at thepostmillennial.com and humanevents.com, and you could sign up for my newsletter at thepostmillennial.com/Libby. Thanks.
All right, so I taped a little pre-segment here for all the subscribers, so obviously hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to see a congressman do a kickflip, I actually did one. I was out here skating the park right before it. I think I'm the #1 rated skateboarder in Congress, and I don't think anyone can take that title from me.
Tim Burchett would have something to say about it.
Yeah, I've seen him I haven't seen him do a kickflip, though. I haven't seen him do a kickflip. I've seen him ride on a board. Riley Moore for WV on all handles, West Virginia 2nd Congressional District. Thanks for having me on again.
All right, Nick Sortor, mostly just on X, at Nick Sortor, because most of the other platforms are degenerate hellholes and give me brain damage. So I stick to X for the most part, because they also don't ban me. And I will be seeing you in Chicago soon. People in Chicago, just keep that in mind. There's a lot of rot there. Like some people argue that the ICE riots there are worse than Portland. So I guess we're going to find out.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. The band is All That Remains. We are going to be playing Welcome to Rockville at the Daytona International Speedway this May. So we're also going to be putting a bunch more shows around that. So we're going to be on tour in May for about 3 weeks or so. So keep an eye out for that. If you want to check out the band, you can check out YouTube, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, Spotify, and Deezer. Don't forget, The Left Lane is for crime.
And I am Seamus Coughlin, the creator of Freedom Tunes. I am launching a new full-length animated series. We already have the 25-minute long pilot created. It's called Twisted Plots. If you guys want to learn about it, if you want to help support us, please go to twistedplots.com to support our campaign. If you donate at the $10 level for this one event, for this show, we're giving people who donate at the $10 level access just for tonight to the pilot before it comes out. So tomorrow it's going to go back up to $25 to get that perk. So please go over to twistedplots.com, support our show. Thank you guys so much. God bless you. Thanks for helping us build culture. Thank you for the incredibly strong start we've had to our crowdfunding campaign with your help. This has really been incredibly touching. It's been an amazing outpouring of support. I'm really inspired to keep kicking butt with this and make this show. I'm very honored to have gotten to host Timcast, and I'm going to see every single one of you on the after show in a couple minutes here.